Hello, good afternoon. Gabe DeArmond here on the weekend recap presented by True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, the show from which nobody has been banned and none of the co-hosts have offered to fight each other at this point in time. No promises today. Could get out of control. We'll see how it goes. But before we bring Mitchell Forde in and get to the shenanigans, want to remind you about True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, our sponsor every single Monday during the Missouri football season. Choosing the wrong construction company can leave you feeling very down. It's a gut punch that nobody should have to deal with, but it happens all the time. You save yourself heartache and call the guys over at True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, a local company with hometown pride that cares most about your experience and your satisfaction with the finished product. You can get a hold of them at 573-442-7292, also online at truesunexteriors.com. You should do that. I didn't really plan anything for the end there, but do that. Get in touch with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. They will take care of you guys. Mitchell, somebody needs to rebuild the Missouri football season.
Yeah, what do you think it would take for us to fight each other? I'm curious, what's the one? Do I have to insult Patrick Mahomes enough? Would that do it?
No, I insulted him some yesterday. You have a significant reach advantage and a significant youth advantage. I've been in one fight in my entire life. Like, you just got to know your strengths, right? I tend to...
I've never been in a fight, really, unless you count my brother, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah, I tend to either just avoid confrontation altogether, or, like, if I get into a confrontation, I have friends that are capable of handling the confrontation better than I do. So if you want to fight, let me know, and I'll get in touch with some of my friends that maybe would be better at it than me.
Okay, yeah, that works.
We also will attempt to throw no garbage on this show. Mitch, do you have your mustard bottle with you?
No, we'll talk about this more later, but I really got to know where the mustard bottle came from. Did someone, I want it to not be like stolen from the concession stand. I want it to be someone brought their own bottle of mustard into the game.
Hey, do we think there was really mustard in it, though? Like,
maybe,
who has ever left the house and thought, you know what? Might need my own mustard.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I want to know. I need answers. I saw a lot of people say, like, oh, it was definitely a receptacle for alcohol. That's risky, because then whatever you're drinking is going to taste like mustard. You cannot get that taste out of there, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure mustard-flavored bourbon is what I'm going for, but I think, really, we've all missed the big story here. Bratwurst or kielbasa? Like, what is it at Neyland Stadium?
Yeah, we need to know. I mean, that is an ongoing saga for sure with our subscribers. We need to know what the mustard was being put on. I have many questions for the owner of the mustard bottle. I hope they come forward soon.
I would have understood had he brought spicy mustard, brown mustard, whole grain mustard, but like, it was just a bottle of French's yellow mustard. That's it's just not worth it.
Although I like all mustards, actually. I'm cool with some yellow mustard. You can. I mean, it's very versatile. You can put it on anything. But I would say, it's almost never my first choice. If I'm having like a turkey sandwich, I'm gonna want some horseradish mustard. Brat, probably some spicy mustard. I don't know. I feel like you could almost always do better, but you also. I'm never gonna talk bad about some good yellow mustard.
Yeah. We're getting reports that you are echoing for listeners. We can't hear it. There's a problem going on with Skype connecting to our software, so we are trying an alternate way of doing this. Mitch, I don't know if the volume is all the way down on your computer. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. We're going to have to... I can't hear an echo. Mitch can't hear an echo. It's unfortunate that you guys can. I apologize. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm going to have to do some homework, I guess, to get this figured out, because things have changed. But we're gonna try to fight through it. I hope it's not too bad today. If it is, we'll certainly, I'll do my best this afternoon to get it figured out. Real quick, Breakfast King said that he used to smuggle in booze in olive oil bottles at games, which that is... A, fairly incredible, and B, can you imagine if somebody had thrown a bottle of olive oil from the upper deck?
Yeah, so first of all, just tell me if I might just suddenly be more quiet and not less echoey. You're going to have to let me know. I'm just messing with my volume. But so first of all, yeah, I have a question for Breakfast King. Why is that any better than just smuggling in the bottle of booze? Because if someone sees a bottle of olive oil, they're going to be like, okay, something's up here. Like, you definitely didn't need to bring olive oil in this game.
You can buy plastic bottles of olive oil. I do know that. But, yeah, I can't think, like, I like olive oil on my brat. Doesn't really fly, I wouldn't think, at the gate. But
yeah, what are you saying is your reasoning for having olive oil? Like, at that point, just bring a flask, and if they find either one, they're going to take it.
Not even a flask. Just bring the whole bottle. Just bring your bottle of 151 and start going to town. All right, so I don't know. We've wasted like 6 minutes talking about absolutely nothing. So Robert actually brings up a point that I know you wrote about on Saturday and was kind of, the issue. I don't get the slow starts. And look, that is what one thing people always point to about, look, if your team's not ready out of the gate, that's the coach's fault. That we put that on the coach. And I know Eli Drinkwitz took responsibility for it, as he has most things, but I see both sides. First of all, nobody should have had to try to motivate Missouri's players for Saturday's game. That was kind of their last chance at turning the season around. That said, it is part of Eli Drinkwitz's job to have his guys ready to go, and they largely haven't been. Kentucky, they were out down big early. BC, they were better. They were up most of the first half. Obviously, Tennessee, they weren't, and obviously A&M, they weren't.
Yeah, it's definitely a troubling trend for sure, and I think part of the reason why, and we've both kind of said this and gotten a little bit of pushback for it, but why I don't view this obviously as bad as the Tennessee game, but there are ways in which it's more troubling just because you can't totally now write that off as an outlier. A lot of times when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids and you're dealing with college football, you can say, okay, you get one bad game a year, because it happens to almost everyone, not named Alabama. We saw just some of the same type of stuff early on in this one where, they just came out looking uninspired, flat, not ready to play. 63-10, I think, in the 3 first quarters of SEC games this season, 49-3 in the last 2. The game was over before people had settled into their seats, and so obviously when you're coming into a game where people kind of like you said, last chance to like have people stay a little excited for the season. A&M's the team that should kind of be quote unquote hungover, and he starts like that. It's just it's hard to feel good about any part of that.
No question. Real quick, Mitch, I don't know, you've probably done this. Somebody said it's possible that both your computer and your microphone are on, so I don't know.
I checked with that, and I decreased the input volume, thinking maybe that would make a difference earlier, but it's just, I think you ended up raising it because you just couldn't hear me, so no, that is not the case. It's just my microphone.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll get it figured out, guys, at some point. I'll do some testing this afternoon. Obviously, in the middle of the show, there's not really much that I can do about it at this point, so I hope you'll stick with us. Apologize. Kyle asked what Austin Carter Samuel's tweet was about. I don't remember the exact wording. He basically indicated that Eli Drinkwitz was phony and that he didn't treat people in the program the way he does publicly. And look, I don't know how Austin Carter Samuels was not treated by Eli Drinkwitz. I don't particularly care, if we're being honest about it. He was here under Barry Odom. He's not here anymore. There are a lot of people like that who are rooting against Missouri and would love to see Eli Drinkwitz fail. It's no different than if you get fired from a job, you don't really want your old company to succeed. It's human nature. There's no real point to air it on social media. Whatever. Austin can do whatever he wants. But tweeting something and then, look, if you're going to tweet it, if you're going to put it out on social media, just stick with it. Like, lesson number 1, don't be a dick on social media, right? Lesson number 2, if you're going to be a dick on social media, just stand behind it and leave it out there because somebody's got screenshots.
Yeah, frankly, I just think, on the list of things to be worried or upset about from Saturday, that's just pretty far down the list for me. I mean, like, if you want to be worried about this coach or this football program, just react to what happened on the field. Don't worry about what a disgruntled former staffer who got let go thinks.
Yeah. I mean, and whatever. Hey, I got fired from a job. I kind of root against the company that fired me too. I don't want them to do well. It's just how it is. Okay, I'm kind of taking questions out of order here, and I am going to get to them. Let's go ahead and get to kind of the issue of the day. I'm surprised we only have one question about it. Luther Burden is making his announcement tomorrow. Maybe in the last 2 hours, Mitch has found out where he's going. I do not know. Mitch, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know nothing really more than I know nothing anyone wants to hear other than like, yeah, we think maybe it's still Mizzou, but no one knows for sure.
But it might still be Georgia, yeah. So just wanted to get that out of the way. But Colby asked a question that I kind of wrote about this morning. He said, if he postpones his commitment, do you think it's better for Mizzou or worse? And there are no indications he is going to postpone his commitment. So far as we know, it is going to happen at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Sean Williams and I are going to be there for better or for worse, either to, broadcast it on our site and write about it, or to have everybody scream at us for getting their hopes up and going and watching him pick Georgia. We'll see either way. But I actually think if for some reason in the next 27 hours he decides to push this back, I hope it's 27 and not 29, because I don't want to have left Columbia and then have him postpone it. But if he does, I actually don't think that would be the worst thing for Missouri. They still have the official visit, and that's not an accident. They have it in case it's something that they need to use. And, I think that's probably pretty smart on their part.
Yeah, probably true. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to handicap something where, no one actually knows where anything really stands. But yeah, I mean, I can see how people would think, oh, he was, set on Mizzou, then he went to Georgia, then he, pushed it back. Like, that means he now he's all of a sudden more reconsidering Georgia. And that could be the case. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can't offer any sort of it's hard for me, like I said, I can't really offer any sort of handicapping because I don't know where anything stands. And I don't want to say anything definitive just because A, I don't know, and B, I don't want it held against me for, because people care about this too much.
Right, and that's a good point. Is there are people who have said some definitive things, and it's possible they end up being wrong. But here's what I've tried to explain about recruiting for 18 years. Just because it's not true tomorrow doesn't mean it wasn't true last week. I know some of the people making these definitive statements, and if they are making them, they've 100% been told that by somebody that probably knows what's going on. So, and I can't remember any specific player, but I know there have been guys in the past who I've been told they have committed to Missouri, silent commitment, whatever, like it's happening. And then it just never happens. So, it is entirely possible that as of last Tuesday, Luther Burden was going to go to Missouri, and as of this Tuesday, he's not going to go to Missouri. So I guess my point is preemptively saying, in case it is Georgia, don't murder the people who said they thought it was going to be Missouri. I know that is going to happen. Well, probably actual murder isn't going to happen, but don't throw bottles of mustard at them. Don't throw golf balls at them,
Maybe that'll just start being the thing we as sports fans do when we're unhappy with someone. Just throw bottles of mustard at them.
Yeah. I'm going to the Chiefs-Packers game on November 7th, and actually I have passes to be in a suite. I bet they will actually have mustard in there, so I don't even have to take my own mustard. But I might throw a bottle of mustard at Aaron Rodgers at some point.
I hope you do. I'm not super familiar with the Arrowhead layout, but if you could get a bottle of mustard from a suite onto the field, that would be a heck of a throw.
Because to get it, well, first of all, there's windows in the suite, but even if they were open, I couldn't overhand it. I would have to sidearm it. Yeah. And I got to get over 55 rows of seats. I just don't think I can do that. And I think the suite might be on the Chiefs side anyway, so I know I can't get it over 55 rows of seats and the entire field. My arm's just not that good. Yeah.
I would just, the only thing I would add on the Luther thing real quick is just us saying, don't kill us if it's Georgia. It's not us saying like, oh my gosh, things have changed. It's suddenly Georgia. Like nothing has changed from what we know. It's just we don't know. So,
it's all about managing expectations and reactions. So Snoop is surprised the question of the day is not about Steve Wilks' employment status. And I mean, we've heard nothing to indicate that he is not the defensive coordinator. And I said on Saturday night, if he's the defensive coordinator on Tuesday morning, I expect he is then the defensive coordinator for the rest of the season.
Agreed. Yeah, I think if you were going to make a change, this probably during the season, this probably made the most sense just because you're going into a bye. You could get an extra week to get whoever it would be, probably Charlie Harbison, kind of situated as the play caller. I really I wrote Saturday, like it wouldn't stun me if he got fired after this game, but I still don't think it ever made that much sense just because I don't really know what that's going to fix. And you don't have all of a sudden like someone who you can just make the defense coordinator. Like, yeah, maybe you can make Charlie Harbison. Like, is that really going to fix anything? It's not like when Barry Odom let DeMonte Cross go, okay, he defense because that's what he's done forever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not stunned. I think it probably makes the most sense. I also I think that Steve Wilks' odds of returning next season are dipping lower with every passing week.
Yeah, because it's just not getting any better. And the other thing that I wrote about this morning is, I mean, they owe him. If they were to fire him today, they owe him $1.868 million. That's after paying Jethro Franklin approximately $200,000 worth of not working. You are still going to have to go hire another defensive line coach and defensive coordinator. Missouri has been in the black for in the red for 4 straight years. There was a season-high 48,000 at the game on Saturday. There are going to be less at the last 2 home games. I mean, who pays for it? That's what it really comes down to. I mean, I don't think Eli's going to Desiree Reed-Francois and saying, "Yo, it's cool. I'll just sacrifice the 1.8 out of my check." I mean, if he is, good for him. But Jimmy Sexton will just pour a bottle of mustard on him if he does that. This is now my new thing for everything.
I don't think the mustard is worth the squeeze on this one. I think it's just it's not where you don't have someone on staff who you're like trying out to be the new defensive coordinator, so it's not worth spending the extra money to get rid of him mid-season and do it on the heels of just letting go the other guy, Jethro Franklin. So I think that he's probably locked in through the end of the year.
And I just don't know. Does firing Steve Wilks and hiring another guy, like, you're not changing the system, right? You're not going to say, okay, we got to. Like, you had 8 months to learn this other system and you couldn't. So let's start a new one and try to learn it in 8 days. You're not doing that. So does Charlie Harbison calling the plays make the difference in a game this year? I doubt it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't see it. So I feel like we're going to get to this, but I'm incredibly impressed that we've gone through 2 topics of the day, and neither one was, well, I knew the Littleburg thing would be up there, but neither one was even the one I thought we would get the most reaction about in the weekend recap, which is people yelling for Connor Bazelak to be benched.
Yeah, I think people are just, I think at this point, and let's go ahead and talk about that, I don't see that it's going to happen. I mean, it's if it was going to happen, Tennessee or A&M is when it happens. And it didn't happen in either of those 2 games. Now, that doesn't mean, hey, if they're up 52-10 on Vanderbilt, and I'm not saying I think that is likely. I'm just saying if they are, and he still doesn't play a backup quarterback, that's kind of going to be weird, right?
Yeah, I think he would do it if they got ahead. I mean, he did it against SEMO, but I mean, and maybe if Connor Bazelak becomes more physically compromised, which Eli Drinkwitz said he wasn't, but I mean,
3 days after saying he was.
Right, he's just not healthy. I mean, you can watch him move. We have a lot of data on Connor Bazelak at this point. Like we've seen him look and play a lot better than he did on Saturday. So I thought he should have pulled him. I thought that. Yeah. I wouldn't have said, you're out for the season or anything. I would have said, look, we got the bye next week. You're not right physically. We're going to give you a week to get healthy. We're going to see what we can get out of Brady Cook or Tyler Macon in the second half of this one. and go from there. I felt like, I mean, after that, watching that first quarter, Connor Bates, like he couldn't move, and they needed someone who can move because the offensive line was getting dominated, and he couldn't throw the ball or wouldn't throw the ball downfield. I mean, his average depth of target was 4.6 yards. That's bad. I mean, he's a guy who hasn't thrown the ball a ton downfield all season, but he's always around the 8 yard average depth of target mark. Like this is almost half of that. Towski Dubs said after the game, A&M's defensive backs were sitting on those short routes. Mizzou did nothing to make them pay. They threw downfield 2 times, and both were like in the second half just lobs to Dubs. So like, I don't know. I don't see. I feel like if there was a time to see what you got in one of the backups, it was then.
So the message board has been full of conspiracy theories about why this is. So what about this one? What about the idea that, look, there's no depth chart. Eli Drinkwitz has never designated a number 2 this year, whether it's Brady Cook. The only thing we have to go on is that Brady Cook played before Tyler Macon in the SEMO game. That's it. That's the only differentiation between the two all year. So what if he's not doing it because he doesn't want to give some indication of who the number 2 is, right? I mean, and I don't know why necessarily that would be. I'm not trying to be cryptic or nefarious, but just I don't know. What if he doesn't want to reveal his number 2 quarterback until he absolutely has to?
No, I think that's maybe even likely, or at least part of the equation. I should say that. And like you said, we're speculating. We don't know. He doesn't tell us these things.
Right.
I think that's probably part of it. I think that he doesn't want to, pick one of those guys over the other as being the backup. Although I will say the only flaw in that plan, and that's I've thought about that too, is I have to imagine that those guys know who would go in if he gets hurt. I mean, like
they have to know.
Right, every college football, they plan everything. You don't just say, if our starting quarterback gets hurt, we'll spin a roulette wheel.
Right.
Which of you two goes into the game. So I have to think between the two of them, at least they know. Maybe, he's trying to, save one of them from hearing from the public, oh, you're the third string, you should transfer. I don't know. The other thing, and I think this is more backed up by the way he coached the rest of that game, was he didn't want to get blown out. And if you throw in a backup quarterback, there's a risk he's throwing 3 picks and you're losing by 50 points. And, we saw that at the end of the first half, letting the clock run out, which I didn't think I disagreed with it in a vacuum, but I thought it was made worse by the fact that it was explainable by itself. But then in the fourth quarter, when he punted 2 different times from A&M territory, you look at all those things together and I say, you know what? You got to at least take the shot. What do you have to lose? Yeah, you could lose by 21 or 35. Who really cares? Give your guys a shot.
He cared.
I think that entered the decision making process.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. We got one more kind of Mizzou-centric question here from Logan, and then we'll get on to some other college football stuff. Where do you think Mizzou's talent ranks in the SEC? By recruiting rankings, it's 13. I think it's somewhere between 11 and 13, right? It's better than Vanderbilt. I don't really know if it's better than South Carolina. Recruiting rankings probably say South Carolina is better, but South Carolina is not very good. And the only other team I'd throw in there is potentially Mississippi State, because Mike Leach is kind of notorious for not recruiting talent and still making it a good team. Good for him, but he's one of those guys that's just like, I don't know, give me the transfer from Weber State and a couple of walk-ons from, Pascagoula, and I'll go throw for 612 yards.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that range is about right. And I definitely think, I just gave Drinkwitz and this coaching staff a little bit of criticism. I want to be super clear. I'm not saying that he's not the guy here. He can very well get this thing turned around. He's going to bring in more talent. I do think talent is a major issue. I just think that, when you look at the slow starts being a common theme, when you look at the defense making the same mistakes, and the numbers looked a little bit better, but A&M still averaged over 7 yards carry, and there were like 3 different times that guys were just wide open out of the backfield, and Zach Calzada either missed the throw 2 different times or just didn't see him. There was one other time where a guy came at him and didn't see him. I mean, there are a few more easy touchdowns that A&M left on the field there. I really don't see any improvement from that group, and so there's definitely some blame that falls on the coaching staff as well. But the talent needs to get better.
I mean, Jimbo Fisher punted on 4th and a foot If he thought Missouri was any threat, he just goes for that and hands the ball off, and he gets the first down, and that the final margin might change. But, yeah, the talent is an issue. And, again, like, we just want to be able to pick one thing, right, and go, well, if we could just fix that, it's good. But you can't do that. Yes, it's the talent. Yes, it's the coaching. Yes, it's the motivation. Maybe it's the work ethic. I don't know. Maybe it could be a million things. Maybe they have the wrong thing for the pregame meal. Maybe they're allergic to field turf. I'm just saying there's no way to just say, well, if we just fix this, we're good. Because they're way too far away to be able to just fix one thing. It's everything. Barry Odom is to blame. Eli Drinkwitz is to blame. Steve Wilks is to blame. DJ Smith, all the players, they're all to blame for this. They all get to share it.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's a little bit discouraging. I mean, like, I actually agree with, some of what Drinkwitz said after the game when he said, like, expectations were probably a little bit too high coming into the season. Yeah, I agree.
Now, whose fault's that?
We talk about that a lot. Partially his, yeah.
Yes.
But I also think that this is not just like, instead of people thought they might go 8-4, they're on track to go like 6-6, and they're, a couple of those one-score games away. Like, they're way further away than to being competitive in some of these games than people thought they were going to be. I mean, these issues are bad. They've got the worst run defense in the country. That's not just like, you're right there. Like you said, there's a lot that needs to change to be fixed, and it can happen.
Right.
But I can
not this year.
a little bit of the disappointment.
Yeah, and they are, look, I put numbers in my Monday morning thoughts this morning. They are objectively worse at almost everything than they were last year. And as far as the expectations go, like, he sat there all spring football and reminded us every single day, you guys picked us to win 2 games. We won 5. Like, he was smug about it he just was. And so that's part of it. And now, to his credit, he admitted, I probably messed up there. I thought Ben Frederickson had a good column, like, this game will humble you, and Eli's been humbled, and now we see how he reacts to that. So I think that's worth mentioning. Also worth mentioning whether you need a total rebuild or just kind of a touch-up and, a thing here and there, a project that you'd like somebody to do because you either don't want to do it or are not capable of doing it. The call you need to make is to True Sun Exteriors and Interiors at 573-442-7292. Voted the best home improvement town in Columbia by Inside Columbia Magazine last year. They can do almost anything around your house. They have done things as simple as install an attic ladder for me to completely renovating our kitchen and bathrooms. They can do anything you guys need. So TrueSunExteriors.com or 573-442-7292. You get a hold of them. So we generally spend the second half of the show kind of talking about, some other college football things. And we do have a couple more Mizzou questions. We'll circle back to those before we finish this out. But Floyd the Barber wants to know, what do you make of LSU's firing of Ed Orgeron? And is there any interest in him as a defensive line coach? I don't even want to go to that. Ed Orgeron's going to have job offers. Could one be from Missouri? I'm not going to say no, but Ed Orgeron fits in mid-Missouri not well, I would say.
Yeah, I think that'd be a little weird, especially coming on the staff of a young head coach. Also, he's getting paid $1 bazillion to go away, so I don't think he's not going to be so desperate for a job that he's going to go be a defensive line coach on a bad defense.
If I'm a program like Jackson State hired Deion Sanders, clearly it was like a publicity stunt, but also because, hey, people know who Deion Sanders is. I bet we can get some players, right? What if you're like a lower level G5 school and you're like, I don't know, man, we're no good. Like, if he gets the right guys around him, he's got a personality and he's got a name, maybe he can get some dudes here. Like, what if North Texas is going to fire Seth Luttrell, I'm pretty sure. What if North Texas just goes, I don't know, man, get some assistants in here and see if you can get some dudes.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we've seen many times that, if you're a head coach once or twice at the Power 5 level, you can almost always get another job. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird timing-wise that the announcement came out after LSU actually won a game that they were a double-digit underdog in, that they announced that Orgeron will be back next season. But I think everyone saw it coming. And it's not just, obviously there's off-the-field stuff at play, too. Can't say I'm stunned.
And here's the lesson to learn. Like, you don't judge guys on, I think there's two things. You don't judge guys on 1 year. Like, Ed Orgeron's entire body of work says he's a mediocre head football coach. He had one unbelievable year. But every other data point tells me he's very mediocre. And you know what that is? Good coaches have good players, man. Like, generally. And that kind of ties into what we were talking about at Missouri. If Eli Drinkwitz gets enough good players, he's going to be better than if he does not get good players. I know that sounds stupid, but, like, we try to pick everything apart, and that's, I don't know, 75% of it?
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
In basketball, it's even higher.
Yeah.
In basketball, getting the players is 90% of it. But in football, I'll give 25% to scheme and weird things that happen. But, I mean, you've got to have guys. And, again, Nick Saban was fine at Michigan State. He was really good at LSU and really good at Alabama. I wonder why. Like, it's almost like better players go to LSU and Alabama, So, elsewhere in college football, I don't know. I know you probably didn't get to watch much like usual. I didn't watch as much just because of the timing of the game and what was going on. But I think the big story last weekend has to have been Iowa. Just Iowaing itself to a loss.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I'm any expert on Iowa, but I didn't necessarily see that coming in this game, but I kind of saw it coming. They were surviving on small margins of victory and winning the turnover battle too much. It was bound to catch up to them at some point. Obviously they're still in control of their own destiny, but it becomes harder now because you got to win out. You got to win that Big Ten title game against maybe Ohio State. So that's not stunning, but kind of contributes to the openness of this playoff field.
The playoff now, and here's the disappointing part. This is like chaos year, right? Everybody's invoking 2007. The disappointing part is there is a very legitimate path to a playoff of Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Alabama. Like, it is very easy to see happening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those might even be, they're definitely 4 of the 5 favorites right now.
Yeah.
Maybe even the 4 favorites right now. So,
yeah, you got Cincinnati in there. I mean, Michigan State, Ohio State, you just say Big Ten East team, right? Whether it's Ohio State, Michigan State, or Penn State, one of them.
Or even just Big Ten winner if it has one loss. Because Iowa can still, if they run out. Yes, I think right now you're looking at Georgia probably no matter what, unless for some reason they lose twice, which I just don't see happening. Georgia probably no matter what, the Big Ten winner, unless they have 2 losses. And then you start to get to where, Oklahoma if they run the table, Oklahoma State if they run the table, maybe Cincinnati if they run the table and get some help, Alabama if they win out.
Hang on, you think they need help? You think Cincinnati, unbeaten Cincinnati, needs help?
Yes, because I think even if they're 13-0, if they're 13-0 and you have Georgia 1 loss, Alabama 1 loss, winners of the SEC. Oklahoma undefeated and one loss Big Ten champion. I think Cincinnati gets left out. I don't think they should, but I think they would.
So if that happens, I'm not sure I'll ever watch college football again. Like that.
That would be the situation I just described. Would be the field you just mentioned: Georgia, Alabama,
right.
Oklahoma.
Well, and to me, for that to happen, Cincinnati's got to lose a game. Like, Cincinnati is number 2 in the country. If they don't lose a game, now. This is going to sound weird. I think Ohio State is a better team than Cincinnati. I think Alabama is a better team than Cincinnati. I think Oregon's probably a better team than Cincinnati. But if it doesn't matter what you do on the field, I want Cincinnati to go unbeaten just to put this to the test. Because if they don't get in at 13-0, then there is absolutely 0 point to play the regular season. We just pick the 4 best teams at the beginning of the year, and it's a 3-game season, and just everybody else just go play intramurals.
I mean, I agree. Like, at least until we get to the point of having a 12-team playoff and making this thing slightly more equitable, yeah. But I really do believe that if we had, I really think one loss Georgia, one loss Alabama, SEC champion, one loss Ohio State, and undefeated Oklahoma. I don't think they're putting Cincinnati in over any of those teams. No way.
They probably aren't. And if unbeaten Cincinnati gets left out, I will fight Bill Hancock. How's that?
There it is. Mustard to him.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. How much would the playoff picture be thrown into chaos if Mizzou beats Georgia? I mean,
I think the universe would be thrown into chaos.
Yeah, that's a thing that, like, you can't lose to this Mizzou team and make the playoff, right?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, they're out if they lost that game.
Seriously, nothing is impossible in college sports, but that's impossible. I think Georgia might. I think it's more likely that Georgia wins by 100 than Mizzou wins.
I mean, I don't see Mizzou scoring in that game. I mean, like, that's not an insult to Mizzou. Nobody scores on Georgia. And Ostock,
maybe this will make like a 50-yard field goal once.
Ostock, we're aware of the echo. We'd love to be able to fix it. We can't right now. I've got to figure some things out. Kyle wants to know, do you think it's likely at all that Drinkwitz will look for a grad transfer QB next year? No way. No way.
I don't see that happening, because then you're begging one of either Macon or Sam Horn to transfer.
Yes,
because you're
Cook.
You're saying basically, like, I have no faith in you guys, at least at this point. Like,
and also Bazelak's going to be here next year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got several years of eligibility left, and clearly Drinkwitz likes him. And like while I said earlier, I would have pulled him yesterday. He's shown us he can be a good quarterback. I'm not going to judge him based off just the last 2 games. When he maybe banged up, that'd be just as silly as judging him just off the LSU game last year when he was lighting it up against Bo Blaney's incompetent defense. So I don't think there's any way they're bringing another quarterback.
I saw a post somewhere on the internet that said Missouri's talking to Bo Pelini to be its defensive coordinator. I'm like, well, I mean, they know for a fact he's not good at it, so I don't know why they do that. All right, we're gonna kind of wrap up with this, and Mitch, I'm gonna let you go first here. Has your opinion of Drinkwitz changed since the offseason? Cole says he's starting to get snake oil salesman vibes. Has your opinion changed?
Well, I definitely wouldn't go so far as to say snake oil salesman vibes. I would say not a little bit, yes, not drastically. Here's what I would say. I always thought that this was going to. I mean, this wasn't just suddenly going to be an 8-4, 9-3 team. This rebuild was going to take a little while, and it is. I thought that probably he, probably got a little bit too much credit for last season having a couple plays go right at the right time and was due to lose a close game or two, and that happened. The things that have troubled me a little bit are obviously, when you're an offensive head coach, you need to get the defensive coordinator higher right, and he's 0 for 1 there in a big O. I mean, that's gone very badly. And like I mentioned, there was just a few things about Saturday's game that troubled me. And I'm not saying he can't be the guy. I'm not saying obviously he's nowhere near the hot seat or anything like that. These are things just that they start to become questions that we continue to look at. Can he get the team ready to play in some of these games? How does the locker room react to him not trying to score in a couple of these situations and kind of playing for a blowout, and then after the game saying, we need to recruit. We got to get more players in here. Like, yeah, he's right, but like that worries me a little bit, and it may prove to be, dumb. But like, I think that's just something I'm monitoring. So it's just basically, I never thought he was, the Messiah that some people did. Right. But I guess my skepticism has increased a tad.
And see, I would say my opinion of him hasn't changed at all, but it's because my opinion of him before this season was simply this. He is a guy that is recruiting very well and that has never coached a roster full of his own players, and I don't know if he can build a football program, and I don't know if he can overcome adversity and all that. And like none of that was ever going to get answered this year. So while my opinion hasn't gone up, had he gone 10-2 this year, my opinion would have gone way up of him. It has not gone up, but it also hasn't really gone down, just because I think I didn't, commitment lists don't just by themselves make successful head coaches. Now, this isn't the year I judge him. I start to next year, and I fully will in 2023. If after 4 years he has a 500 overall record, I'll say, well, it doesn't really seem to be working. He's getting all that talent, but the record hasn't improved. But we're 2.5 years away from really talking about that at this point. So, it was like he said, I thought it was interesting. He used some of the same terminology that Conzo Martin used. Conzo Martin at one point said after the Porter year, he's like, we kind of skipped a step last year, and now we're starting over. And Eli said yesterday, or on Saturday, I hoped we could skip a step, but it turns out we can't. And that's true. I think one thing that has changed, I think this job is harder than he realized it was when he took it. And I don't know if he would ever admit that, but I think it.
Yeah, probably true. I mean, but he's still recruiting. I mean, he's recruiting really well, so he's overcoming the challenges that have always been in place there. And I want to clarify something you said. Like, I'm not judging him off this year by any means. I hope that was clear. Like, I just I do think that. Just basically the more data we get of him being a coach, the more you start to say, okay, he's been good at this thing, recruiting PR. There's definitely questions about this thing and emerging questions about these things. So I think opinion's still pretty similar to what it was going into the year.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, thanks, Mitch. We'll let you go. We'll talk to you another time, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so Mitchell Forde checking in with us, and appreciate him taking some time, and want to wrap things up just by reminding you guys, True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, the place you want to go for all your home improvement needs. Most people know they do the stuff on the outside, siding, landscaping, things like that, but they're really pushing the interior business. We've had 2 bathrooms, some floors, a kitchen. They've done a lot of work in our house. I tell you guys all the time, I only really want to work with partners that I have used and can vouch for, and True Sun certainly falls into that category. TrueSunExteriors.com, 573-442-7292 if you want to get in touch with them. So that's our show for today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be talking with Jed May from UGAsports.com on our recruiting show. We will have that tomorrow to preview Luther Burden Day, and then Sean Williams and I are meeting up in St. Louis, 6 p.m. announcement on Tuesday. Either going to be a whole lot of happy people or a whole lot of sad people watching this show going forward. So thanks, guys. We'll talk later.